Hey everyone, NoidXD here, bringing you another video. Today, I'm going to be telling you how I managed to terrorize a Pokémon scrim. Hosted by my good friend Nanefroge on Discord. Apologies for the weird formatting on the name, by the way. That's just how my device does it. Anyways, so the place that we would be doing this on is Pokémon Showdown, and the format is Gen 8 Random Battle. There were 6 of us participating in this, and we were all in VC throughout the whole thing. I did not record any voice chatting throughout this whole thing, but I did record all of my battles. So, let's get through them. Starting with my round 1 opponent. Who is Nanefroge? Yes, he participated in his own tournament, just because we needed more people. Here we go. As you can see here, I lead off with my men team, which is a water type against a fire type Rapidash. This means I already have an advantage, and I can do whatever I want on this first turn, without much punishment. And in the bottom row, there's Regidrago and Tornadus there, which are both legendary Pokemon, meaning I've got a pretty good team right now. Let's get started with the actual battle though. I choose to use Scald this turn to try to get super effective damage, but he predicts that and swaps into Sharpedo so that he can take the not very effective hit. So I decide to retaliate by swapping into one of my legendaries, Regidrago, who takes a crunch attack from Sharpedo. That did a bit more damage than I expected, so I just decided to go for the super effective hit, being Hammer Arm. But Nene predicts that and uses Protect to see what I would use. He also did this so that he could get a proc on Speed Boost, which is Sharpedo's ability, meaning he gained +1 speed at the end of the turn. With this, he manages to outspeed me and almost take me out with close combat, but I retaliate by finishing him off with Hammer Arm. But my speed has been lowered, meaning that whatever he sends out has a high chance of outspeeding me. With this, he decides to send out a legendary of his own, Lunala, a ghost and psychic type, and he finishes me quickly with Psyshock. So, I decide to send out Type Null, a normal type. I did this because this type Null carries Payback, which is 2 times effective against Lunala, since Ghost and Psychic are both weak to Dark type moves. Nene doesn't realize this, and he just stays in going for Psyshock to get a small amount of damage, while I do loads of damage to him in return. Payback is a move that doubles in power if you already took damage before you attacked. Anyways, I went for Swords Dance this turn as he swapped in DDF, meaning I just got a +2 in attack for free. And DDF is also Psychic type, so I decide to go for Payback again here. But Nene knows this, so he decides to swap into his Rapidash, meaning that my Payback only did a small amount of damage. But I just stay in and go for Crush Claw, which gets a same type attack bonus, since Crush Claw is a normal type move and so is Type Null. Anyways, Nene Dynamaxes his Rapidash and does Max Flare, but even that doesn't break through Type Null, and I retaliate and nearly take it out with Crush Claw. Knowing that I'll take it out next turn, I'll go for Crush Claw again, while he goes for Max Flare, which nearly takes me out, but it doesn't, and I take it out instead. Even Sun Boosted Max Flare wasn't enough to take out Type Null. Type Null is an unevolved Pokemon who is holding an Eviolite. The Eviolite boosts its defense stats by 50%, making it really strong, at least on the defensive side. Nene sent out Butterfree, so I just go for Crush Claw, knowing that it'll take me out. And he does with Bug Buzz. But this gives me a free switch in to my Tornadus, my other legendary Pokemon. Now Tornadus has another form, and this is the other form, Tornadus Therian, a flying type, good against Butterfree, who's a bug flying type. Anyways, I decide to use Hurricane for the super effective hit, but he swaps in Archeops, which resists the hit because he's rock type. I'm not really sure what to do here, so I just use U-Turn, a move that swaps you out after you do damage. And I decide to go into my Gallade, who resists rock type moves, but is also weak against flying, which is Archeops' other type. Knowing that he'll probably use a flying type move on me here, I decide to swap into another Pokemon, my Mantine, which will probably take the hit well. However, he doesn't go for a flying move and actually uses U-Turn, so he can actually swap into something that counters my Mantine. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually have something that counters my Mantine, so he just goes into Butterfree, meaning I get an opportunity to use my Dynamax. And I use Max Geyser on this Butterfree, which misses its Sleep Powder. Now that I've set up the Rain, my Mantine's ability activates, which is Swift Swim, which boosts its speed by a large margin when it's in the rain. Nene swaps in his Lunala, which gets demolished by another Max Geyser. And then he decides to send out Butterfree again. So I decide to use Max Airstream, which is super effective against it, hoping for the KO. Unfortunately though, he somehow outspeeds me and puts me to sleep with Sleep Powder, growing small again because my Dynamax is worn off. Butterfree is a Pokemon who can set up with a powerful move called Quiver Dance, and he did that exactly. Now this Butterfree's actually scary when I sent him my Tornadus. So I use Hurricane, which has 100% accuracy in rain. But he swaps in Archeops again, and now I'm not really sure what to do. So I just decide to U-turn out again, into Gallade. But instead of attacking, he just healed himself back to high health with Roost, which is even scarier. But thankfully, I still have a Pokemon hidden that I haven't sent out yet. Nene doesn't know what that is, so he just KO'd my Gallade, but that gives me a free switch into this weapon of mine, Cloyitza, a water type, which destroys this Archeops completely. Nene already knows this, so he just U-turns out into NDDF, while I hit it with Water Pulse, which takes it down to half health. Knowing that I can KO this thing with my next attack, I use Water Pulse again, since I'm locked into it with Choice Specs, which boosts my special attack by 50%, but locks me into one move. Anyways, Nene tries to set up on me, but unfortunately he fails, even with the special defense boost he got. This battle is pretty much over already, since I can destroy his other Pokemon that are still remaining. However, Nene puts up a valiant effort as he sets up another Quiver Dance with his Butterfree, and he takes out my Cloyitza, but unfortunately, I still have my Tornadus to finish him off. That means Nene was just knocked into the loser's bracket, and now I had to wait for my next opponent. I must say, this wasn't a terrible start to this tournament. But it's time for my second round opponent, Corruption Impulse, or Corrupt Pulse in Pokemon Showdown. I lead off with Frosmoth, and he leads off with Whimsicott. So, I decide to set up a Quiver Dance, to boost my special attack, special defense, and speed all at once, while Whimsicott paralyzes me with Stun Spore. This isn't actually that good for me, because my speed has been halved because of the paralysis, so I decide to use Quiver Dance again, just to try to boost my speed back up, while Corrupt decides to do a small bit of damage to me with Moonblast. Thankfully, this Whimsicott is easy setup fodder, meaning I'm able to just constantly set up on this thing. But anyways, I decide to finally attack it with Ice Beam, while he U-turns out. To my surprise, he sends in a Registeel, and I get paralyzed instead of attacking, which is not good. I decide to just attack it with Bug Buzz, hoping to get some damage, but it actually doesn't do that much because of how strong Registeel is. Not wanting any of my other Pokemon to take unnecessary damage, I just attack with Giga Drain while he takes me out with Iron Head, giving me a free switch into my Solgaleo, a legendary Pokemon, which is a Steel and Psychic type. I sent Solgaleo in because it has two super effective moves against Registeel, being Flame Charge and Close Combat, and I also chose it because the moves that he's revealed can be tanked easily with Solgaleo. Corrupt sent in Necrozma Dawnwings, which is an alternate form of Necrozma. At first I really wasn't sure what I was going to do against this thing, but then I decided to Dynamax and use Max Darkness, which is super effective. It does a ton of damage, but I wasn't able to take it out, so he was able to set up a Calm Mind, but that doesn't matter because I'll be able to KO it anyway, with an absolutely raging Max Darkness, leaving Corrupt to send out a Vileplume in response. I have a super effective move being Max Flare, so I decide to use that on it, hoping to get the KO. But it actually only does half health, which is surprising. This allowed Corrupt to put me to sleep with Sleep Powder, which is really annoying. I try to wake up while he uses Strength Sap on me. Unfortunately for him, he didn't drop my attack, but he still healed to full health again. My attack didn't get dropped because of Full Metal Body, which is Solgalio's ability. Anyway, I'm still desperately trying to wake up when he swaps in a Clawitzer against me. I wasn't sure what to do, whether I should stay in and try to burn another sleep turn or swap out, but in the end, I decide to swap out into my Luxray, which counters this Clawitzer. He tanks the Dark Pulse, and now I threaten this Clawitzer. And I manage to KO it with a Wild Charge. But my Luxray is left on really low health, so I just decide to keep it in. Corrupt then sends out a Meowstic male. So I know that I'm gonna get KO'd, so I just stay in. But I have an absolutely terrifying weapon against this thing. A Porygon Z! But it's not actually a Porygon Z. It's a Zoroark, disguised as a Porygon Z. It's able to do this thanks to its ability Illusion, which makes it disguise itself as the Pokemon at the back of your party. Watching Corrupt desperately try to stop this thing is really hilarious now looking back on it. He even tries to sleep me even though I already have something slept on my team, meaning that it triggered a Sleep Clause, which is just a simple rule and part of the format. I even disconnected and came back. Kind of funny. I bet Corrupt was kind of hoping that I would actually not come back. Oh well. What confused him even more was that I was taking damage and the illusion wasn't breaking. But that's only because I didn't actually take any direct damage from him. And he tried to stun spore me with Prankster, which is Whimsicott's ability. But he couldn't because Zoroark is a Dark type, and Dark types are immune to Prankster. Anyways, he finally takes me out, but this battle is literally over. It's 3-1, and this Whimsicott is very low on health. So I do the honors by finishing him off with my own Meowstic, but it's female. It's because they have different forms, but depending on gender. And I just had to hit him with the Disrespect Energy Ball to leave him on 1% health, just to rub more salt in the wound. That does seem a little mean, but it's also kind of funny too. So, my next opponent was G4 Gamer, but he actually beat me. Yeah, you heard that right. Why don't you, see for yourself? Yeah, so I got completely destroyed, and I got knocked into the losers bracket. But I'm not eliminated yet, so let's get on to the next match, which is a rematch against Corrupt Pulse. Because I knocked him into the losers bracket last round, and that I lost to G4 Gamer, he won his last battle, meaning I got to face him again. Anyways, we both set up on turn 1, and he hits me with Thunderbolt while I hit him with Moonblast, taking him all the way down to his Focus Sash, which is an item that leaves you at 1 HP if you are going to be KO'd instead. I finish his Raichu off while he nearly takes me out, and we both go down because I took damage from Life Orb, which is an item that boosts your power but you take damage every time you attack. I send in a Thievul, which is a Dark type, and he sends in Lunala, which you already know the type of that because you've seen it. I use Dark Pulse on him, which does about half of his health, and he flinches because of the Dark Pulse, meaning he didn't get a chance to retaliate. I'm in a very good position, and I finish off his Lunala with another Dark Pulse, proving that I am ahead right now. Things are looking really good for me right now, and he sends in a Cinderace. But now that he's Dynamaxed to Cinderace, things are gonna start going downhill. He takes me out with Max Flutterby, which I was not expecting at all. I paused for a bit longer than I normally do, but I sent out Xatu, which should hopefully neutralize this thing. I start by paralyzing this thing with Thunder Wave. I was actually faster than it, which I did not expect. but he takes me down to half health with max Flutterby. I then start trying to heal with Roost, but since it removes my flying type, I'll be taking more damage from max Flutterby. Thankfully, Cinderace's Dynamax ends, and I'm able to hit it with a super effective Heat Wave. Because of Cinderace's ability, it changes its type to whatever move it last used, effectively getting a stab bonus on every one of its moves. Anyway, he takes me out and swaps into Toxicroak because he used U-turn. So I decide to send in my Manectric. I try attacking with Thunderbolt, and it does good damage. However, he KOs me in return with Gunk Shot, which really surprised me. Well, not really, because it's a Manectric, but anyways, I send in my Glastria to try to KO it in return. He deals half health to me, and then I KO it with high horsepower. However, he is still ahead of me by a long shot, and my Glastria is on the verge of being KO'd. And he still outspeeds me, even after being paralyzed, and he KOs me. Well, this game looks over. I wasn't good enough. And I just reluctantly set up a Geomancy. I'm gonna lose. It's over, guys. I'm sorry. I was too weak, and now he's gonna KO me with Gunk Shot. Wait, what? 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 No way! I lived on 1% health? Yes, let's go! You thought you could beat me? Well, you were sorely mistaken. Yeah! Come on, send out your last Pokemon. Oh, Latios? You think I care about that? Get out! And a Heliolisk too? Destroy! Good game. Get lost. Okay, but seriously though, that was really cool. And really lucky. But it's not over yet, as I still have to fight one more person. G4 Gamer again. Let's see if I can dish out my revenge. I lead off with Kabutops, and he leads off with Meowstic Female. You'll know what that is, cause I used one against my first match against Corrupt. Anyways, he uses Nasty Plot and I use Liquidation. That's about a 3-hit KO. I pause for a bit but decide to just stay in while he KOs me with Energy Ball. This gives me a free swap in to my Urshifu, which can dispose of this Meowstic very quickly, which I did with a single move. This gave Gamer an opportunity to send in another one of his Pokemon, a Lunala, which we've seen so many times already. Why is this randomizer so boring? Anyways, I send out Thievul, which I've already used before as well, so I plan to do the same thing that I did to Corrupt's Lunala before. I take him down to half health, he uses Moongeist Beam, which actually did not do very much damage at all, which is really surprising, and it freaked out all of us. Anyways, I KO'd the Lunala with Foul Play, and he sent in Registeel, which we've also already seen before. Why is there such an abundance of Pokemon we've already seen before? Anyways, I made a mistake and used Parting Shot on a Pokemon with Clear Body, meaning that it literally did nothing, and gave him a free sit-up turn with Curse. So I just stay in and attack with Foul Play, which does nothing, and he KOs me in return with Body Press. I've just let a set of Pokemon loose on my other team members, so I send in Type Null, another Pokemon that we've seen before. But anyways, I try setting up Sword Stance, but it just does so much damage with Body Press to me in return. I just decide to stay in, because I do have healing, but he sets up another Curse, which is really bad. I now know that Type Null won't be doing any damage anytime soon, so I send in my Heracross to hopefully take care of this thing before it gets too strong. Thing is though, Registeel has 3 curses up now, so its defense stat will be quite high. So I try to use close combat and it still does a large amount of damage. But then, Registeel heals all of its health back and wakes up because of a Chesto Berry. Rest heals you to full health, but it puts you to sleep. But Chesto Berry wakes you up from sleep. Meaning I had no choice but to Dynamax to try to KO this thing. Thankfully, I still do okay damage, and I was able to take a hit from this thing. Heracross might faint from this next attack, but it'll put Registeel in KO range of another Pokémon on my team, meaning that the sacrifice was worth it. Returning this match to anyone's game. I send in my Urshifu to safely KO this thing, returning me in the position to win, potentially. Gamer then sends in a Lantern, so I decide to swap into my Type Null. Now you get to watch the rest of this battle, as I sweep the rest of his team with the power of Type Null. This was a really fun tournament, and I was really pumped. Anyway, let's end this! I was glad to be able to participate in this. It was so much fun, and I really hope that I win the next few ones that I record anyway. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys later.